Please welcome hosts of the Acquired podcast, David Rosenthal and Ben Gilbert.
Woo.
Welcome to Season 1, Episode 1 of Modern Treasury Transfer.
Woo!
I'm Ben Gilbert.
I'm David Rosenthal.
And we are your MCs.
Not your host.
Yeah, it's different than our normal day job as podcast hosts.
Yes.
For those of you in the room who don't know, David and I are the co-hosts of Acquired, which is a podcast that, even though most people seem to have found out about it in the last couple of years, started way back in 2015. And it's been this really interesting journey where, like, nobody listened for a super long time, but you kind of just keep your head down and you keep
I don't even
doing
think
what
my parents listened for a while.
Seriously. It's the show is one of these sort of labors of love that started in a super niche area, which was acquisitions, which is why it's called Acquired. It's gone on to become this thing where David and I are obsessed with understanding what makes companies great. So we spend now 3 to 4 hours is the final episode length, 100 hours of research to really unpack the entire history and strategy of a company and put that out in the world.
Yeah,
and
we've done NVIDIA, we've done Berkshire Hathaway, we've even done Taylor Swift. Thank you, Modern Treasury, for picking up on that with the music today.
Yes. And it's like many of these things you hear about in startups where you think something's niche, but it's actually not. So now we're one of the top 5 podcasts in the technology category for Apple and Spotify. And the funny thing happened right around 2018 when we were starting to show some signs of life. We were getting decent at the craft. People started listening to the show, enough so that we could do a live event and have, 100 or so people in a room.
Yep.
In San Francisco at a WeWork. We were interviewing...
In the Tenderloin.
In the Tenderloin. Actually, it was SVB's office.
Yeah. Story keeps getting better and better.
We were interviewing the CEO, or actually the founder of Venmo, early fintech company.
Another great fintech company.
And we had these 3 guys show up and say, hey, we're huge fans of the podcast. And we were like, we have fans of the podcast?
Yeah.
And
Tell us what you do.
Yes, and it was the 3 founders of Modern Treasury. It was Sam, Dimitri, and Matt, who were working on another floor of the WeWork and had just graduated Y Combinator. The entirety of the company was 3 people. It's crazy to think only 5 years ago it was just a 3-person company. But ever since, we feel sort of joined at the hip with Modern Treasury and that we've gotten to grow up together. So you've seen the company go from 3 people to, I think, today around 165, literally billions of dollars flowing through the platform every single month by, I think, hundreds of customers. Some of the world's most important financial institutions and banks are partners, as many of you in the audience know. And it's just, it's this incredible example of technology just making people's lives better, making products better. And I just can't, it just doesn't feel like that long ago, 5 years, to go from that to a key piece of financial infrastructure today.
It's been a great journey for Modern Treasury and us together with them. We're lucky to be, Ben and I are lucky to be investors in the company too. It's been a great journey. But that is not why you all are here. You are here because I think something pretty incredible has happened in the payments and money movement industry over the past few years, really. I was thinking back, reflecting on this. I graduated from business school in 2014, and at the time, Square, the great fintech company, was one of the big recruiting organizations on the Stanford campus. And I remember all my classmates saying, "Square payments, that's boring. That's like, where's the innovation in payments, money? That's not interesting." And obviously, like many MBAs, they were very wrong about that. And Square, now Block, is actually here with us today. I don't think anybody would say they are a boring back office company. And in fact, they really kind of led the way, along with Venmo, of the fintech revolution that's happened over the past few years. And we're thinking about kind of like why this has happened. And part of it is certainly macro events of the past few years, the past few months. Quick show of hands. Raise your hand if you have had to explain money movement to your friends and family over the dinner table in the past few months in a way that you never thought that you would. And that's just like the ordinary public. I mean, for any company, any innovative company these days, money movement, payments, knowing where your capital is foremost on their minds. We're at a really exciting era. There's RTP, there's FedNow that's about to launch, there's AI, there's banking disruption that's happening, there are new banks coming online, there are older banks going offline right now. And we're gonna have a great day today to set all of this in context. So we have some of the best operators in fintech out there here today. We've got some of the largest financial institutions, as Ben was saying. We've got the Federal Reserve itself here today. Ben and I are going to get to close out the day with a conversation with Brad Gerstner from Altimeter Capital to put all of this innovation and change and technology disruption in the context of the broader markets. But first, to start the day, please welcome Modern Treasury co-founder and CEO, Dimitri Dadiomov, to talk about the new era of payments.
Money movement. It's at the center of every business. Pay-ins, payouts, payroll, payments, and everything in between. All the operations around moving money need to be resilient, robust, stand the test of time. So when failures make the world pause, your company can keep moving, building, scaling, and driving efficiency, ensuring money gets where it needs to be, when it needs to, every time. In compliance, in an instant, with complete transparency. For finance, product, and your customers. All that matters most to you. Drive your business forward with the operating system for modern money movement. Made for multiple bank integrations, faster payments, full data visibility, and business resiliency. We'll keep your money moving so you can keep your business growing. This is Modern Treasury.
Thank you, Ben and David, and thanks to all of you for being here. This is a real moment. I'm very excited to chat about money movement at our first user conference. We get to do this with such a special group of people. There's so many friends in the audience, so many people who have helped us along the way, so just want to say thank you for being here. What I'm most excited about is to share what we're working on in building software for this new era of payments. We started Modern Treasury 5 years ago to modernize money movement. It sounded simple at the time, but as we discovered quickly, in reality, it's anything but. Sam Aarons, Matt Marcus, and I had a problem that drove us crazy. We were building a mortgage product, and our mortgage website had to talk to the banking system to send wires, collect payments, transfer those to investors, and track it all throughout the entire process. And managing this as we scaled up turned out to be very complicated and frustrating. You could probably all relate to this from your experiences. I was the PM, and every Wednesday I had a standing meeting where everybody from the company could come and ask me questions about payments. Colleagues from customer success had questions about payments that customers were asking them. Colleagues from capital markets had questions about payments. And of course, finance and accounting was trying to do month close and had questions about payments. And they would highlight a bank statement in yellow, and they'd be comparing it to a G sheet from last Tuesday, and they would come to me and ask me to confirm something, that whether a payment showed up on time or there was some sort of delay or failure. And as it really tried to reconcile the original intent with what actually happened. One time, a guy we're working with threw his papers down in just utter frustration and just said, "Can't you guys just computer it?" And it made us kind of wonder, why can't we just computer it? So we registered justcomputerit.com. Check it out sometime. And when we reached out to other companies to find out how did they do this at greater scale than we were operating at, whether they were in healthcare, real estate, fintech, they all had the exact same problem. And they had the same meeting, the same cast of characters. Maybe their meeting was on Thursdays instead of Wednesdays. But really, it was crazy. It was just kind of nuts that nobody had solved this problem that is relatively common across business. And that frustration, that rage, frankly, led us to start Modern Treasury. We jokingly call it rage founding. Why can't you just computer it? Since we started, things have just moved faster. Just think about the past 6 months. The banking world has seen changes that would have been unimaginable just 6 months ago. And a lot of it is not like good in the innovation, it's not disruptive in the innovation and good sense of the word. It's just disruptive to all those meetings that these companies are having. So what's needed, we believed, is a software product that gives complete visibility and gives companies a resilient financial foundation, software that empowers tech and product teams to work better together. That software is Modern Treasury, the operating system for money movement. Mark Andreessen famously said that software is eating the world. If that is true, then every payment will begin and end in software. Let me repeat that. In the future, every payment will begin and end in software. And my hope is Modern Treasury is the best system, the best in the world at bringing together the software and the banking worlds and keeping things in sync at all times. That means better data, better efficiency, and a better business overall. That shift is driven by a few key trends. Consumer expectations are changing. Software is powering new business models all around us. New payment rails like FedNow are coming. And of course, it wouldn't be 2023 if I didn't mention that AI is changing things all around us. Taken together, integrating payments can help virtually all businesses. And that is an exciting possibility, allowing companies to unlock new revenue streams, to deliver new product experiences, and to improve efficiency throughout their business. Now, as Ben and David said, it wasn't always this way. Payments used to be a back office function, something nobody really thought much about. They're kind of boring. In fact, when we were starting, a lot of people, including Paul Graham, were like, what you're doing is really boring. And for many companies, that's still true. But for a growing number of companies, that is changing. And payments are anything but boring. Because anywhere it goes, what we've seen is innovation drives a huge wave of innovation. Payment software used to be siloed, fragmented, rigid, and you could tell that by the way when you used it, right? Like the clunkiness of the processes was something that you experienced, whether you were paying or getting paid. And then there was this shift, mostly in the consumer side, that we're all very familiar with, where companies like Uber and Amazon and Shopify started to treat payments as an integrated part of their product experience. And it's become a better experience for everybody. Our expectation in society today is that everything happens in real time. Like we used to be okay with DVDs being mailed and waiting a few days to watch something you wanted to watch. That doesn't fly anymore. We demand instant streaming. And payments still happen oftentimes in the order of days. And that's changing with FedNow. And like the change to streaming, the move to real-time payments will have very far-reaching consequences to user experiences, to business models, and to the way businesses are run themselves. We're very lucky to have Connie Thine from the Federal Reserve here today to speak with us about the launch of FedNow with Sam Aarons this morning. Companies that embrace this shift will have full visibility and immediate control over their money movement. And the banks that are embracing this shift, and I see many of you here today, are driving innovation and bringing efficiency to their clients and delight to their customers. That's the future we're talking about today. These transformations don't just improve your business, although that's very important in 2023. They also touch every sector of the economy. And there are downstream implications that can change how we think about money as a culture or a society. Imagine you check out of your shift at Starbucks at 4 p.m. and you get paid at 4:01 p.m. instead of at the end of a 2-week pay period. Think about how that can affect lives. Think about how that can change the concept of living paycheck to paycheck. Think about how literally the word check is in the word paycheck. There's an entire industry called payday loans that exists because of payment ops delays, which is crazy. These are powerful implications that can improve how we live, and they start, strange as it may seem, with the payment infrastructure. Over the past 2 decades, the sectors of the economy that run on credit cards, at the bottom here, have gained efficiency and have generally not experienced as much inflation. On the contrary, the sectors running on ACH, wire, and check have experienced massive inflation and have become serious social issues that we talk about all the time. What you pay for using bank rails includes housing, healthcare, education, and childcare. These are not small undertakings. These are some of the most urgent challenges society faces today. And frankly, they're areas where we cannot afford inefficiency. Thankfully, there are innovative companies that are pursuing and attacking these problems. And we're excited to support these companies as they bring efficiency and innovation to the sectors that really, really need it. Now, we all see the opportunity. That's why you're here today. But scaling payment operations is not easy. 75% of money movement in the US happens over bank rails. And most of it is B2B or B2C. It's probably the primary way that most of you move money today. But up to now, the bank rails haven't benefited as much from modern software innovation. They continue to be manual, siloed, error-prone, fragmented. This pain is not just anecdotal. The data confirms it. We ran a survey with Hairspole, and we asked hundreds of finance leaders about their pain points. 88% said they were facing issues with payment systems. 80% said that half of their payment operations are manual. And 70% lack insight into their own data. The results are not pretty. It can be inefficient and expensive. Errors can spill over into bad audits, sometimes worse, headlines. It's embarrassing and it's costly. And in 2023, it just doesn't have to be this way, which is why we're building the operating system for money movement. We saw the need for an independent software layer that serves as the foundational financial infrastructure for your business. Because ultimately, while payments are core to your business, they aren't your core business. Sounds nice. How do you get started? We've got a great agenda for you to hear about how some incredible companies are transforming their industries and meeting their clients with new exciting ways. Let me tease just a few. Modern Treasury is helping Procore unlock new growth, deliver new products, and serve both new and existing audiences with Procore Pay. And we're very excited to have Jeff Lewis here today to share stories from their journey bringing modern payments to the construction industry. Companies that are helping businesses such as Settle, serving e-commerce, Row, innovating for hospitality, and Navan, transforming corporate travel, are building new, flexible, faster financial products. And we're excited to hear from Alec, Jess, and Michael about these today. And we're not doing this alone. We're working with leading financial institutions, and we're thrilled to have Goldman Sachs Transaction Banking, JP Morgan, Cross River, BMO, and the Federal Reserve here today as well. The reality is, whether you're a startup just launching your first product or a large company operating multiple lines of businesses already, we believe modern treasury can benefit you in unlocking new experiences and delivering greater efficiency. Moving money requires centralized financial data. It requires automating money movement rails. And it requires product and finance software that works for many teams around the company effectively. We're so very grateful to many of you for inviting us into your companies over the past few years, and look forward to working with more of you in the years to come. And with that, I'd like to introduce my co-founder, Matt Marcus, Chief Product Officer at Modern Treasury, to share a bit more detail about our products and about our product vision.
Thanks, Dimitri. It's pretty surreal to be here with everyone today. We just started Modern Treasury 5 years ago. We've gotten to work with a lot of amazing companies and banks in that time. A lot of you are here with us today, and we know that we provide mission-critical infrastructure for all of your businesses. So I just want to say thank you for trusting us. We don't take that responsibility lightly. We know the role that we're playing. My plan for this time is to spend it talking about our product and our roadmap. That way, everybody can leave today with a better understanding of what we do and how we help our customers, and then where we're going. Since we've grown up really quickly, we've layered a lot into our product in a pretty short period of time. And what we love about building Modern Treasury is that we really get into the guts of our customers' businesses by virtue of the problems that we're helping them to solve. It's really interesting work, and we get out of bed every morning really excited to help our customers innovate and provide great experiences to their customers. Before we talk about where we're going, it's helpful just to take another step back and talk about where we came from and how we thought about building Modern Treasury. Like Dimitri said, we always thought about building our software platform to be industry agnostic, to help companies, no matter what industry they were operating in, scale their money movement. But like all startups, we had to start somewhere. We had to start with a specific, tractable problem that we ourselves knew intimately. So we started with a problem that we saw at Lending Home, a mortgage lender, where we worked since 2015 as engineers and product managers working on these money movement challenges. At Lending Home, we had to build connectivity to our bank systems over a pretty antiquated technology. We were working with systems like SFTP, using flat files like Notcha files and BA2 files, and sometimes worse than that. And while we were using APIs for pretty much every part of our technology infrastructure, including credit card processing, which seemed very similar to us to bank transfers, we were still using SFTP and flat files. So at Modern Treasury, our initial product was a clean and simple API that could help companies programmatically make bank payments. Practically speaking, that meant ACH payments, check payments, and wire payments, all payment methods that really hadn't seen much of any innovation. So we launched with this API in 2018 and pretty quickly found ourselves working with companies in every industry of the economy. Our first customer was a health insurance business. Our next two were real estate companies. Then pretty shortly thereafter, we were working with companies in education and healthcare, transportation and manufacturing, and more. So today, we're fortunate to work with all these companies and many more in pretty much every industry of the economy. And by working with all these companies, our team has become experts in how money moves throughout the economy, which helps us to provide great service to our customers, and then it helps to inform our product strategy, and our roadmap. As Dimitri said earlier, we believe that money should move in real time. The thing that's been holding it back has really been the technology that we work with. But there are new faster payment rails like RTP and FedNow that are going to enable faster payments. And systems like Modern Treasury can help to enable that for companies. But a really important part is it's not just the technology, it's also the trust around the payment systems. It's the trust between your company and the bank that you work with, because they're ultimately holding and moving money on your behalf. It's also trust between your company and the counterparty that you're transacting with. And then a critical part as well is the trust inside of your organization. So it's the trust between product and engineering teams and finance and treasury teams. You need this so that everybody in the company can have an accurate pulse on all the money moving through your business, on the status of your cash and all of your payments. So since day one of Modern Treasury, we've had as a core product principle for ourselves that we would build for both product and engineering and finance and treasury teams, which isn't what we were seeing across the market in other software platforms. We know that everybody inside of a company has the same high-level goals around growing a business, around growing revenue, providing great customer experience. But people inside of a company need different tools. Developers need great APIs and developer documentation and sandboxes. Finance teams might need cash management tools and reporting tools and approval flows. And by providing all of this in one place, we believe that we could help our customers' organizations work well together. And then our goal ultimately is to replace much of the financial drudgery that plagues these organizations, especially in finance teams. Things like preparing daily cash positions to preparing your 10K. So that way everybody in the company can focus on more strategic initiatives. So today, we have a platform that is much more than just an API for money movement. We have a complete operating system for money movement, a single source of truth for all of a company's financial activity and workflows. And we built this because we recognize that money movement is critical to the success of all of our customers' businesses. It's not ultimately what they focus on day to day. Their core competency is in providing their own product and their own great customer experience. So we built this so we can focus on the hard work around money movement so that our customers can focus on their users. Our operating system has three parts: an application layer, an API layer, and an integration layer. We'll talk through the different pieces. It starts with our integration layer, and there are two parts. The first is around payment facilitation. How do we actually help our customers to move money? That is powered through our connections with our bank partners and various payment processors. And then the second component is around data. How does Modern Treasury connect to a company's external systems? We've discovered that every company has data analysts and data engineers that need their data to ultimately pipe into their warehouse. They need it so that they can get it in their business intelligence platforms like Looker or Tableau. So that way everybody in the company can use it to answer questions around their payments and merge it with other data they have. Oftentimes we see our customers further piping it from their data warehouse into their platform to power end user workflows, like updating balances in their application or closing out invoices. And then additionally, on the data side, we see companies need their financial data from modern treasury, from their banking systems, to flow into their ERP. So that way they can power their financial reports and ultimately close their books. So we support integrations to both ERPs and data warehouses at the integration layer of our system. Then on top of the integration layer, we have our API layer. The API layer is really focused on building these building blocks that are API first, that our customers can take and embed into their systems. We've been very focused from the beginning on providing things like great developer documentation, really clean APIs, so that it's very easy for our customers to integrate modern treasury into their platform. This is important. For example, when a payment settles in your business, you need to do those things like tell your user, or update a balance, or close out an invoice. But you need systems like webhooks and notifications that can get data from modern treasury to your platform really quickly and easily, and you need clean developer tools so that you can build against that. So our APIs, with a few of them, span the set of most common problems we see companies that move money dealing with. We started with our payments API, which today supports payment methods around the world, as well as complex workflows we see our customers dealing with, such as spinning up virtual accounts or real bank accounts at their bank partners. Next, we saw that every company that moved money needed a ledger. They needed a system to track all of the transactions, all the financial activity inside of their businesses. We saw a lot of companies going through a lot of pain building out this ledgering infrastructure, going through multiple iterations of it, going from single entry to double entry, not getting the idempotency piece right, things like that. So what we did with ledgers is we built the right ledgering infrastructure that any company can leverage out of the box from day one. It's best in class, it's double entry, and it's all those things so they can skip ahead to the correct infrastructure. And importantly, it can be used both in tandem with our payment systems and independently, so you can plug in data that you already have from other places into our ledger. Next, we saw that every company that moved money needed compliance infrastructure to do things like the know your customer checks, transaction monitoring, adhere to AML regulations, and they were oftentimes stitching together different systems to get there. So to address that, we built integrated compliance into modern treasury. So that way, every time a counterparty is onboarded in modern treasury, we can run the know your customer checks. Every time you run a payment, we check it for fraud. And it's all that data just lives in one place. And then finally, we have reconciliation, which ties together all of a company's financial data in one place. We'll talk more about reconciliation later on, so that's all I'll say there for now. And then finally, on top of everything, we have the application layer, which really the point is to bring together all of your company's financial data into one place for everybody in the organization to access and view. Users can do things like manage their cash flows, so you always have the right money in the right bank accounts to operate your business. You're not running out of money in your operating account by accident, which we see happening. You can do things like set up approval and control systems so that people in your organization can control what money is flowing out where and know exactly what's happening in your business. And when exceptions happen at scale, which no matter what you set up, we all know if you move a lot of money, you're going to have exceptions. You need things like integrated case management, so that way people in the business can respond to those. And then you have full visibility into who did what exactly when, so that we can audit and point back to it at the end of the day. So we believe providing all this in one place is critical, so that everybody inside of our customers' businesses is acting with the same data. Next, in the application layer, we have our pre-built user interfaces. We rolled those out earlier this year because we saw that all of our customers were building the same UIs in their products, things like collecting bank account information or having payment flows for their users. And building these oftentimes exposed our customers to sensitive information that they didn't want to hold, things like social security numbers or bank account numbers. And so by using our pre-built UIs, which are fully embeddable and white labelable, they're able to avoid those obligations and ship the right experiences from day one while also getting the updates that we ship natively with them. So that way they don't have to stay up to date with different banking regulations. And then finally, we rolled out invoicing earlier this year too, which is integrated invoicing so that our customers can send invoices to their users, all while facilitating payments via Modern Treasury. So altogether, this is our operating system for money movement, a single place for all of a company's financial data and activity. So given all of this, I think it would be helpful to highlight a few of our customers so you can get a sense for how companies put together the pieces of the operating system and use it in their businesses. We'll start with Splitwise. Splitwise is an application that allows groups of individuals and people to keep track of their shared expenses. So for example, a few years ago, I went to Iceland with some friends, and I used Splitwise to keep track of what everybody paid for on the trip, so that way at the end of the trip, we could settle up. I bet a lot of people here have used Splitwise in a similar way, or perhaps with your roommates, to keep track of what everyone paid for. Their number one requested feature has been to allow their users to actually make payments through the application, directly through Splitwise. So last year, we partnered with Splitwise to launch exactly that, an integrated offering called Splitwise Pay that enables companies, or enables individuals to make payments between themselves. And by partnering with us, they've been able to get this product to market quickly with our integrated payments and ledgering infrastructure. They've also been able to build this product with the right economic model because they leverage our software platform along with their partners of their choice. So that way it works for them both today and in the future. And then they also have the full financial controls and auditability, the full ledger, both for themselves and for any of their partners if needed. So that way they have an accurate, up-to-date sense of their ledger and their user balances. Next, we'll talk about Navan. We have a lot of people from Modern Treasury here today that came in from out of town, and they all use Navan to book their travel here. Navan is a software platform that helps companies and their employees manage travel. So when employees book travel, they'll use Navan. And we all know that when people book travel, they oftentimes pay for things out of pocket. They use their own personal cards. And so in those cases, it's the employer's responsibility to get that employee reimbursed quickly and accurately. So Navan uses Modern Treasury to power reimbursements to employees around the world. And by partnering with us, they've been able to take a fairly manual process, both around payment origination and around reconciliation, and streamline that via our API. They also have full global payments coverage in all the regions that they operate in, so that way they can send payouts no matter wherever they're operating. And then finally, they're able to provide a transparent customer experience to their users by leveraging things like our webhook notifications that tell them accurate, up-to-date statuses on all the payments that they're sending, whether they're here or in other regions. Finally, we'll cover Paraffin. We've always loved working with them because we just feel like we've grown up alongside of them. They've grown extremely quickly. And like us, they do a lot of difficult work behind the scenes to help their customers provide great experiences to their users. Paraffin provides small businesses with access to growth capital. And they do this by partnering with platforms that we all know, like DoorDash and Amazon and MindBody, and then providing loans to the merchants on those platforms. And because we've worked so much with them on product development, we actually want to highlight some elements of the product that we've worked on with them. And I'm going to invite up to the stage Duncan Graham, our head of design, who will cover more about our operating system. Thanks.
You've heard about Modern Treasury's operating system for money movement today. I'm excited to tell you a bit more about it and to show you how Paraffin leverages it. Paraffin uses Modern Treasury's APIs to move money at scale. With multiple bank integrations, many accounts, and thousands of payments a day. As scale increases, so does complexity. Daily workflows for cash management and treasury operations become more and more inefficient. Edge cases and errors in your payment systems become inevitabilities. APIs enable scale, but you need tools to manage it. Over the past 4 months, we've worked closely with Paraffin and other partners to create the application that allows them to centralize and streamline their financial workflows. Let's dive in. From our dashboard, Paraffin can quickly see the state of their accounts, balances, and payments all in one place. They can view where payments are stuck, as well as what's needed to address and unblock them. They can group accounts by functional categories. This allows them to see aggregate balances, as well as historical trends for cash management purposes. What's more, they can drill down into crucial accounts in order to see things like historical cash flows, as well as forecast future money movement for liquidity planning, and to see granular reconciliation data that allows them to ensure that the payments they've made match the bank transactions that they're seeing. Financial visibility and efficient, streamlined workflows are great, but where possible, it's even better to automate. With our sweeps feature, Paraffin is able to create rules for programmatic transfers between their accounts. This allows them to set and maintain minimum account balances automatically, as well as to sweep funds between accounts with lower to higher yields at set intervals. All of these features harmonize to create the centralized platform where Paraffin can view and manage their money movement at scale across all their sources. This includes bank statements from corporate accounts, as well as payments made with Modern Treasury, and even other payment processors that they may use for special cases. This application, on top of our APIs, this operating system for money movement, has enabled Paraffin to focus engineering efforts on their core business rather than on building payments infrastructure. It's enabled them to get to market fast. From the time they committed to their business model, it only took them 3 months to go from idea to production using Modern Treasury. Putting this into perspective, it can take companies as many as 6 to 12 months to stand this up on their own. And finally, Modern Treasury enables Paraffin to manage their finances at scale with cash visibility and efficient treasury operations. We're so grateful to work with them and excited for what the future holds. Thank you. Back to you, Matt.
Thanks, Duncan. So next, we're going to talk more about our product roadmap and where we're going. First, here are just some overall themes that we're always working on at Modern Treasury. The first one that you're always seeing on our roadmap is our global payments coverage. Today, we work and support payments in a number of regions and countries around the world, like the US, the UK, the EU, Canada, and Australia. We're going to continue investing in our payment rails coverage to support both more geographies, as well as more payment rails in the geographies that we're already in, like, for example, FedNow in the US. We're also shipping new features and new capabilities to improve how we handle FX for cross-border payments that our customers are already sending today through Modern Treasury. Next is bank integrations. Today, we support about 30 banks through our platform, and we're continuing to grow our footprint with new banks around the world. This means both adding new banks and also upgrading the technology behind the scenes. So as our bank partners roll out new things, like it might be a new API to replace an SFTP system, which will migrate on behalf of our customers. Or we'll see banks rolling out new products like wallets, which we integrate to, so that way our customers have access to them. We're continually investing in new bank integrations and increasing the capabilities for ones we already have. Next, we have ledgers. Like I mentioned, ledgers is really a financial database for all of a company's financial transactions. And like all great database products, we just always have a lot of engineering effort going against it to make sure that it's as fast as possible, it's highly available, it's high throughput to support the most complicated use cases that our customers throw at us. So there's a lot of engineering work going into ledgers to make sure that it works for any scale use case. And then we're also shipping new features in ledgers, like the ability to create statements to report on balances across accounts and automatically provide this to customers. And then finally, we're investing in AI, so that way we can support and grow workflows inside of our product and also pull forward parts of our roadmap that AI makes possible. And we'll talk more about that in a little bit too. One of the most common asks we've gotten since we started Modern Treasury is, when are you going to support cards? And we've known that that's a gap in our product. We've been very focused on bank payments like ACH, wires, and checks. But last year, we started to step into this a little bit. We started to see with our Ledgers product that our customers were using our ledger to keep track of card payments in their business. They would use it to record transactions and even authorize transactions in real time. And so once we started stepping into cards and thinking about our roadmap over the next year, we decided that we would support card issuance natively through the platform. So I'm excited to share that over the next year, we'll be rolling out native support for card issuance in Modern Treasury. This will be a big step forward for us because it will bring more of a company's payment flows into our platform, so that way they don't have that financial data and workflow living elsewhere. We also recently announced our pre-built UIs and invoicing feature set. So we'll cover more about what we just rolled out and then a little bit about some of the features we're rolling out for them soon. We have account collection, which collects banking and personal information on behalf of our customers through embeddable, white labelable user interfaces. This comes with integrated device and behavioral intelligence, which we use to power fraud detection for all the users that are onboarded through these widgets. We also can run integrated KYC and KYB checks at the end of these flows, so that way our customers have a seamless onboarding experience that flows right into their compliance stack. We also have embedded payment flows that can be easily integrated into your product to enable your users to make payments without having to write all this code to build out these payment flows. And it has the same fraud detection capabilities that the account collection does. And then finally, we recently rolled out invoicing, so that way our customers can have a complete end-to-end invoicing experience where their users can view an invoice and then make a payment via our customers' connected payment rails like ACH, wire, and check. So over the coming months, we'll be rolling out a number of enhancements for more use cases for our pre-built UIs and invoicing features. One major improvement will be internationalization for our pre-built UIs. So we're starting with Mexico, and this is what this will look like. There are really two components to supporting our customers with their global payment needs. One is that these forms should not be in English in certain geographies. So in this case, we have it in Spanish. And also, there are different banking fields that you need to collect to operate in different regions. So in this case, we have your SWIFT number and your CLABE number. A second area that we'll be expanding our pre-built UIs is around adding new ones to support integrating them into internal IT-like workflows. So when you think about the systems that your company already has, like Salesforce or ServiceNow, and you need workflows for things like requesting payments and approving payments within your organization that seamlessly connect from those systems to your bank, we'll support that through new UIs that can be embedded easily inside of your IT stack. Finally, a major area we've been investing in and talking a lot about is our reconciliation engine. Our goal is to give our customers fully automatic, 100% out-of-the-box reconciliation for all their financial activity, which we think is a huge leap forward compared to most of the processes that these companies have. So reconciliation is a problem that every company has, whether they're moving money or operating AP and AR. Whether it's cash application for financial reporting or just updating payment statuses in your product for your users, we see the need for an accurate, up-to-date reconciliation system in every business. It's where companies have to identify, label, and categorize all their financial transactions, and ultimately helps them to get an accurate sense of their cash positions and then close their books. And we talk to companies all the time that don't get this right, and the implications can be massive for them. We talk to companies that discover multi-million-dollar losses in their business because they don't have the right reconciliation systems. They might not realize that payments failed 6 months ago, 12 months ago. We talk to companies often that fail audits and even can't go public because they don't have the right reconciliation workflows in place. And what's unfortunate is for a lot of these companies, they're high-growth startups. They don't realize that they have this reconciliation problem until it's too late, until they're trying to go public, and then their whole timeline is set back by a few years, and it's even more costly for that business. So since day one at Modern Treasury, we've been very focused on building out the proper, correct reconciliation engine for our customers to leverage. And what we're rolling out now is the ability for companies to leverage it, not only if they originate payments through Modern Treasury, but they can bring their existing money movement infrastructure and give us their data so that way we can help them to reconcile all their financial activity. So that way they don't have to replace their existing infrastructure, but they can help and solve the reconciliation problems. So there are 3 pillars to what we have in our reconciliation engine. The first is data ingestion. It's how our customers get their data from their platforms, from their systems, from their banks into modern treasury. The second is data enrichment. It's what we do with the data we get to improve it for reconciliation. And the third part is the engine itself. It's where we actually reconcile the data for our customers. So we'll go through the parts and what we're rolling out over the coming months. Data ingestion lives at the integration layer of our operating system. It's where we have those connections to banks and payment processors, so that way we can pull data into modern treasury on behalf of our customers in real time or as fast as we get it. Over the coming year, we're going to be rolling out more integrations to non-bank providers like payment processors, so that way our customers can get data, more data, into modern treasury without having to write code themselves. For example, we rolled out an integration with Stripe recently, so our customers can get their card transaction data from Stripe into modern treasury, so that way we can reconcile it for them. We're also going to be rolling out more integrations like the Stripe one to more non-bank providers over the coming months, as well as continuing to add more bank integrations. But we also see that a lot of companies just have data that, whether it's CSV files or Notcha files or BI2 files or name your file format, and they need to get that data into modern treasury for reconciliation. And so to support that, we'll be rolling out both the ability to manually upload that data into modern treasury and the ability to upload it via API, via automated systems. So that way, all of your data for financial reconciliation can get into modern treasury, and we can reconcile it all for you. The reason we've been really excited about AI is for the data enrichment step, because we see a lot of reconciliation problems that humans are actually pretty good at doing, but machines are not, where there's something that's fuzzily wrong, and a human looking at it can figure it out, look at 2 CSVs, look at 2 rows in an Excel sheet, and reconcile it. And that's where a lot of the work and headache comes from for a lot of these businesses. Like in this case, we have this address written in 2 ways. And for anyone here, it's pretty obviously the same address. But if you throw a deterministic method, like a regular expression you wrote, it's probably not going to get that right. And this is only one flavor of the problems you see. You see things like extra semicolons or extra spaces in words or typos. And this is something that humans are very good at addressing. And we think that large language models, LLMs, are well suited to solving these types of problems because they can infer the same thing that we can infer when we look at them. So we're planning to leverage LLMs and roll that out to create reconciliation suggestions in our platform over the coming months to augment these human workflows. And we're being careful. We're not going overboard. We know that AI can be wrong, but we think that we can use it to enhance these types of workflows to augment and speed them up for our customers. And then finally, we have the reconciliation engine itself. And when we think about reconciliation, it's matching data like this. You have debits on one side and credits on the other, and you have to line it up. And we have a bunch of enhancements coming here that will help for more of these types of matching problems that we see in our customer base. The simplest reconciliation case is just one-to-one matching. You see exactly the same payment on either side, and you need to line that up. And we've supported automatic reconciliation through our expected payments feature for a few years, actually. This is a pretty straightforward example. But here's what we're rolling out over the coming months. We'll be rolling out one-to-many reconciliation. So you might see this in something like a buy now, pay later example, where you've sent somebody an invoice, and they paid it over many payments, and you need to line those up. Or you might see the inverse of that, where perhaps you sent somebody multiple invoices, and then they sent you money in only a single payment. And you have to identify which payments do you batch together to reconcile against what you see on your bank statement. And then sometimes you see this, where you're waiting for 2 payments, and then 2 payments show up, or maybe more or less, and the dollar amount lines up, but it's not what you were waiting for. And so the other side is good on their obligation to you, but you need to figure out that these dollar amounts line up. And so put together, this is where a lot of the headache comes from. This is why people spend so much time on reconciliation. And so what we're rolling out are the capabilities to automatically reconcile more of these for our customers, so that way they don't have to take care of them by hand on their own, But for the cases where they do, it's important you have the right tooling, so you're not living in Excel sheets, which are error-prone, they're not trackable, they're not auditable. And so what we have there are our new manual reconciliation tools, which we're also rolling out soon. So that way it's streamlined and easier for our customers to line up their data and get an accurate sense on how far off are they, how much work do they have to do left. And by the way, this is where we think AI can be helpful too, because rather than sifting through for a needle in the haystack, we can just show you, here's what we think it is, because we've looked at the text and this seems like it will line up. And by the way, imagine doing these reconciliation workflows in a world of real-time payments, where payments are happening on Sunday at 2 a.m., and it's not only Monday morning when the Nacha file clears, but it's every minute of every hour of every day. This is the world we're going to, and so we're trying to help companies get ready for that through the right software that provides automation and then the right manual workflows for them. When we started Modern Treasury, Dimitri, Sam, and I believed that we could build a generational, independent software business. We know that we have a lot of work ahead of us, like the work we just talked about. We're really excited to do it. We're really proud of the team that we have doing this work and the customers that we get to work with every day. So with that, I'm going to leave everyone. We have an exciting lineup for the rest of the day, so thank you.